Welcome to the most highly anticipated match of the night. 3 Codes spots have been given away. There's one left. Taking a look at our results, we had Squirtle smash Shine. Made him look rusty, made him look very opaque. No shininess about it. 2-0, he will take his Codes spot back. But we have up next Rain versus Flash.
Exactly. We have 2 players who have been doing really well in this Codes season so far, but only one of them can go to Codes. The other one will have to play the up and downs. It is Flash versus Rain, and this is going to be a great series between these 2 Casper players. This is going to be cool.
Yeah, it certainly is going to be nothing less than spectacular. You know, Rain and Flash, both top-tier Casper players in StarCraft 1. Rain making his biggest splash towards the end of his StarCraft 1 career, and then, in fact, going into StarCraft 2, started to do a little bit better as well. So this guy is somebody who's been talked about a lot, been hyped a lot, but recently has been having a little bit more trouble than he did in the past.
Yeah. So right now, our first Terran versus Protoss of the day too. Yes. So we have a little bit of a different matchup after we had 2 Zerg versus Zergs and then a Zerg versus Protoss. The first game of the day without a Zerg participating, and also now Casper versus Casper. Who's gonna take it? Flash, he wants to go in Codes right now. 2 times he tried, 2 times he failed, and he wants to dodge the up and downs. The up and downs have not been a place where he wants to be. He lost every single time where he attempted to advance. Didn't make it in the last season. Here we have him to the left, and this game is going to be so epic.
You know, when you look at these 2 players playing against each other, they are kind of the flagship players for their team, and their teams are KT Rolster and SKTT1, the 2 biggest competing Casper teams. If you live in the US, imagine this as being like AT&T versus Verizon or something like that. It is like the biggest rivalry that exists in StarCraft 1, and now moving into StarCraft 2 with Casper. This is going to be a pretty sick match. There's a lot of fans here, a lot of fans online I know as well, Koreans everywhere. Foreigners looking forward to this match. The countdown is started.
Flash versus Rain. Flash setup is here. Rain is ready as well. The Kiln Flats is our first map of the day. We now have a best of 3 between 2 Titans. The best players for their team. Terran versus Protoss here, the GSL Codes. We're going into game 1 on a Kiln Flats. KT Rolster's Flash is up against Rain of SK Telecom T1. Who's gonna take it? Who's gonna go to Codes? We're gonna find out right now at the GSL Codes. Colin Wolf. To the bottom right of it, Kiln Flats, we have in yellow the Terran player for KT Rolster. It is
KT Flash.
Called God by many. Such an incredible player in StarCraft 1. Really wanting that Codes spot. He's hungry.
And he is up against the Protoss this time. Starting to the top left, a player who has already been in Codes. Can he go back into the StarCraft 2 Premier League? It is
SK Telecom T1, Rain.
Originally falling into Code B because of scheduling problems, but already on his way back into Codes. And if you guys want to tweet at this guy, you can tweet at him at SKT1Rain with no spaces or underscores. If you want to tweet at Flash, well, you're going to have to send him some message otherwise, because still, so far, this guy does not have a Twitter.
Yeah, unfortunately he doesn't.
And make sure to follow the 2 of us on Twitter as well, at ProxyWolf, at Caldor, and last but not least at GOMTV to get updates on who's playing who, when, and all sorts of updates about tickets and anything else you might want to know.
And talking about GOMTV and the GSL history of these 2 players, we talked a bit about Flash and his unsuccessful attempts to get into Codes. He was always in Codes, always in the up and downs, trying to make it happen, and every single time he failed. It was close, but he wants this win now. He wants to go into Codes. For Rain, he dropped out because of a scheduling issue. Then in the first round of Codes, he was up against Dream, and back then, Dream was still one of those players where you know, yeah, the guy's good, but you didn't know how good. And then in overseas tournaments, he really made it work for him. But when he took out Rain with a 2-0 victory, everyone was really surprised. Most people expected Rain to crush his opponent. It was the other way around.
Yeah.
And now they are up against each other. 2 great players, but only one can advance.
Yep, the other one is going to have to go through that arduous up and downs, which Flash was not able to succeed in.
Yeah, and talking a little bit about Flash's run in this Codes season. He did not drop a single map. He played Solar from Samsung Khan, and then in the second round he was up against Axiom's Rung. And Ryang also not able to win a single map. Flash is now in this third round without a single map loss. But the same is true for his opponent. To the top left, our Protoss player, he was taking out Shine, MVP's Shine that is, in round number 1. And in the second round, he was up against a Terran player. He took out Keen without dropping a map. Really interesting games, very exciting. And these were games that Flash definitely studied, trying to prepare for this match.
Yeah, this is a very annoying eBay block, but it's not as annoying as it could be because Rain did not skip the Zealot.
He waited until the last second till he canceled it, Flash that is.
Yeah. Stalker's checking, making sure there's no SCVs in the main, and he will now start his Nexus. Flash gets the command center first, as opposed to the Nexus. He's not going CC first, but he goes into a one-Raxus span. And this is a pretty even opening for both.
Yeah, here comes the expansion now for Rain. We have an SCV still in the vicinity, trying to get some additional scouting information later on. And of course, what Flash needs and what we see on screen right now is the bunker. Knows exactly that he can't take this risk of being too greedy here. Not against a player like Rain. Rain has shown crazy timings in the past. He knows exactly when he can hit and when he can execute one of his gateway builds. Will he do it against Flash?
Yeah, well, Flash is now feeling a little bit more comfortable because it could have been a 4-gate. Did not verify until that last second with the SCV. Rain Stalker was, unfortunately, you know that patrol position he had? If the Stalker had been at the right side when the SCV came in, he would have actually been able to kill it, but as it stands, he did not. And Rain losing some hit points on the Zealot here. No. But just to close that thought, he's able to see the Nexus, which is really important for him.
Yeah. The thing is, if you look at the situation, oh wow, that was a bit scary here. The Marines not quite able to take down the Stalker, but it was close. A few hit points gone, also the shields, of course. And if you look at Rain just in general and his win statistics, then you have him here in his best matchup. Against Terran, this guy is just so good. And he has proven it not only against Keen, but also against all the other Terran opponents that he played in the recent past. He has a 76% win ratio in this matchup, with more than 60 games played, which is really impressive. But he wouldn't be up against such a tough opponent against Flash if Flash was not also very good in this game. And he is of course a legend in Brood War, but also in StarCraft 2 he has been quite successful. 68% win ratio against Protoss, and he played about 70 games in this matchup.
And so he's both playing against weak players either.
Yeah, both players are just really, really strong. Also very good in this particular matchup, and this is why this series is just so epic, besides them being like really high-profile players.
Yeah. One thing I've noticed about Flash is that he loves to start his Vikings immediately, and he even now starts a, starport going up. But the thing is, will he face Colossi first? Because so far we haven't seen a single one made by Rain. In fact, he's cut the robotic support bay out entirely. Or is Flash going to play a little more reactionary here and wait to see what Rain does? Because if Rain studies Flash's plays and say, well, you have a tendency to make a lot of Vikings.
Rain had a lot more games that he could watch when Flash played against Protoss. And if you just look at the Pro League games, for example, Flash just took out JYP. That happened yesterday, actually. But before that, he lost to Bong and he lost to Flying. He also lost to Argo. So there are a lot of matches in Pro League where Rain could have a good look at the replays, at the VODs, and could be like, okay, well, this is how you play. I can prepare for that. They are both Casper players, and Casper players shine in an environment where they can study for an opponent. So you can definitely be sure that both of them watch the previous games of their opponent in this matchup and try to find out what are your habits, what do you usually do, what are your scouting patterns, what kind of strategy do you go for, and what exactly are your timings.
Yeah. This is so important to know, and Kespa players are known for their ability to predict, or rather to prepare, based on what they've scouted by watching replays and VODs really, really well. So when you have these two players with so many good teammates to practice with, I feel neither player has an edge, but it just makes the match so much more exciting because these two players are trying to mind game each other. Now, Flash is hitting that 2 medevac timing with combat shields. Look at how everything lines up. Combat shields, +1, and concussive shells all finishing perfectly as he's lifting into the medevacs. This timing could not be more perfect, but he's spotted.
Exactly, he's spotted. We have a nice observer here. Really good positioning for Rain. But Flash behind this is already getting his third base. He's expanding. Those Stalkers are just waiting. They're moving in, and he's sniping those 2 medevacs.
And with the Colossus here as well, even the drop-off is not going to be that great for him. But you know what? A bit of a mistake here by Rain with his micro, and now he's got Marines in his natural, killing all of his probes.
Flash with a nice 2-prong attack. First of all, you was able to save both medivacs. Rain was trying to hit them, but with good micro, Flash just moved to the side, and when Rain pulled all his units into the main base, the Marines at the Natural were just running and taking down Harvesters.
He may escape with some of these. Good force shields do prevent it.
11 Harvesters killed. He loses all of his Marines, but the worker count is now really, really low for Rain. And this is a situation as a Protoss player that you never want to be in.
Yeah.
You know that your opponent will have the extra mules, so the economy at this point for Flash is so much better, especially since he has a third base already.
The third base is in position. He's making an orbital. Again, perfect positioning here by Rain with his Observer. Does see these drops. This time, though, his Stalker count is much less. He only has 5, and they're not ready yet. I feel even though he could have seen it, he was too distracted by this. Now the drops can go in his main undetected. He warps in Zealots, they're just going to die. Those Stalkers have no chance.
Flash with such a high-paced game. He is putting so much aggression on Rain. He wants to win this. He wants to go into Codes. You can really see the determination in his play. He makes this work. He makes this happen. And at first, it looked so dangerous. Rain was setting up a trap. He saw the medivacs, and he was waiting with the Stalkers a little bit outside the range just to lure those medivacs in.
Yeah.
But then it worked against him.
If he had hit one more volley of Stalker shots on the medevac, it would have been down. He would have been able to defend without sending his units from the Natural, but he had to pull the units from the Natural, which gave Flash that opportunity to run in with those Combat Shield Marines. Now Flash is beefing up his production. He's creating 2 more tech labs for Marauder production. He's getting additional medevacs out, something he's known for. Now going to Viking production hardcore, and he's even getting a second starport.
And he might overproduce on Vikings. He has a few here, but the thing is that Rain did not really commit to his tech into Colossi. No, he's going into Storm now.
Yeah, this is one of the vulnerabilities I was talking about earlier that Rain may have studied, because Flash generally makes more and more Vikings. Second starport going up, and his Viking count is already at 6. He's going up to 8 now, and there's not any more Colossi, not even range on the way for Rain.
I like the second starport just to have the option of doing it, to adjusting what your opponent does, but he's building 3 Vikings at a time. He's really going all out on Vikings now, and this is a big problem. If he overcommits, and he already did, he's at 8, he's going into 10, and there is only 1 Colossus. We have Storm instead, and Flash just doesn't have a Ghost Academy. He doesn't know what's going on here.
He's making 3 Vikings at a time now.
Wolf.
And this is one thing that, I mean, this isn't necessarily going to lose him the game because he's so ahead at this moment in time. He's already 40 supply up. But if Rain gets his third base and gets a few good storms, then this game could turn around in a second. And Rain is known for his Psionic Storm play.
This could be Rain's ticket back into the match, because let's be honest about it, in the early game, Flash with those medivac timings did just so much. He was everywhere. And another advantage that Rain has in this series, his upgrades.
Yeah, he had the Twilight Council out. He hit those 2-2 very quickly with Chrono Boost, and Flash, with a little bit late on his armory, is now a whole set of upgrades behind.
But Flash with obviously the much better economy. The third base frame was so early compared to what Rain has here. And now here comes the Ghost Academy. We have scans, he sees the High Templars, he goes into the Ghost Academy. He doesn't get any additional Vikings now.
And he wants to push and trade some of his supply here because he knows he's got a moment of vulnerability. He can attack while his third base is still very much in production. He needs to get the perfect angle, though, with his Bioforce, and you know, there's nothing the Vikings are really going to accomplish for him here.
Rain needs storms, but there's another drop now suddenly at his Natural, and he has to deal with this. He pulls his entire army to the left, and this opens up an opportunity for Rain.
He needs to hit these storms right now, right here. If he misses them, the game will end for him. A good storm, only 1.
He needs more than only 1. 1 storm is not going to be enough against this. Here comes the attack at the
Nexus
Natural
is gone.
again. The Nexus is gone.
The Vikings are going to land in the main. He's actually just going to go in here and go for a drop.
This is just Flash. He takes down Rain everywhere. Landing in the main base. We have them in assault mode. An attack at the Natural. He's going for the third base. Flash is everywhere.
This is domination here. He's going to target down the Forges, which will eliminate that upgrade lead as soon as Flash gets 2-2. If he loses the Vikings here, it doesn't matter because there are no Colossi.
He can't get away with them. He can take down this Colossus. He just needs to lift them. But here comes the warping of the Stalkers, taking them out one by one. Flash wants to move in at the third base. Is Rain ready for the storms? Yes, he is. There it goes.
Rain is holding on by a thread here. He needs to hit more storms. He's trying to chase. The Force Seals are not going to help him here. Flash needs time to back up, heal his units. All of them are in the red, but as soon as he gets those units healed up, he can attack again and again because he knows that Rain's economy is so hurt right now.
Rain's chance was to hit another storm and take out this huge Marauder army. They were all down in the red, but he couldn't make it work. Now another drop attempt by the Terran player, but Rain, he already sets up a few of those High Templars trying to go for the feedback.
He got a feedback, in fact, and killed one of those medevacs. The Vikings still are around. He's just so good at finding and killing these observers with his Vikings right now.
Rain is really cornered here. He's trying to hold on, trying to survive, trying to get the army in the composition that he needs to finally take an engagement and then fight back. But at this point, he is only taking hits, and he is trying to deflect them. Flash is everywhere.
Rain is his punching bag, but he needs to get his economy back going because Flash has been sticking with 3 CC for a really long time, now making 2 at once, but this gave Rain a bit of an opportunity to hold on, you know, just turtle a bit. He needs to get those forges back up, continue his upgrades.
Rain might be the punching bag for now, but this is a punching bag that actually bites back. Here we go with another drop attempt, and those feedbacks, they are not enough. And the Marauders, they have so much damage potential.
He cannot lose this Nexus. If he loses the Nexus, he loses the game, and he's busy defending his third. He will lose the Nexus. There's also a drop heading towards the main. Flash is everywhere.
Here, Flash is going in. The Nexus goes down at the natural. Now in the main base, we have another drop, and still this huge army for the general player that is always just hovering at the edge of the third phase, trying to look for a chance to move in. But look at this drop. Marauders, Marines, and bye-bye Stalkers. Rain still at 150 supply, but he's
being targeted.
losing momentum everywhere.
Yeah, and Flash just has too much, I feel, at this point. All of the tech is being taken out here. He starts +3 armor, but he doesn't have economy to make the upgrades, get more Templar out, get more Zealots out. His production is way too limited by the fact that he lost that Nexus. He's not even mining from his main base, so he's basically on one base against Flash, who now has 4th and 5th command centers finished and ready.
And Rain just decides that it's time to move out. He's like, I can't take these hits. If I stay behind, I will always lose against this guy. He is everywhere. I have to do something. I have to go for a counterattack. I have to move out. I have to try to fight, try to hit those storms, try to take down this army.
Oh, this Nexus, he has to cancel it again! No, Flash does not target. He targets too late.
He needs to get rid of the medivac. If this medivac is still there, then there's always the threat of being dropped again, and this is a situation Rain can't afford. Flash is taking more bases.
Yeah, this is something that the time that Flash is mining right now is working against Rain so well. He now has the 4th command center landed. He has extra orbitals. Right now on the map, he has 66 harvesters and 4 mules active against the harvester count of Rain at 46. So even if he completes that 3rd Nexus, his saturation is still not going to be as good.
It's like Rain is in a choke now. Flash still doesn't have a bank though. He's 40 supply ahead. This is kind of the theme of the game. But we have these drops, and they are once again hitting the natural, trying to make sure that there is no additional base, no mining for Rain.
He goes for the Nexus. The Forge upgrade is cancelled. He's afraid the Forge is going to get targeted. He cancels the Nexus.
The amazing thing is that they are still in a position where they are very even when it comes down to the resources lost. Flash actually lost more resources than Rain.
Yeah. He just has more money mined. Great EMPs here. The Forge upgrades never finished. He literally canceled them.
Those EMPs, they hit home. They took down the shields of all those units.
The ghosts are trapped, though. Yeah, but I feel the Bio Army is just too much. No shields here. And this is only half of Flash's army. The other half is killing everything at the natural right now. Feedbacks go down the medivacs. It's too much. GG!
Game 1 ends in favor of Flash, the Terran player. He wanted to go to Codes, and right now he just opened the door very well.
Way too much aggression. Like you said, I think it's one of the most critical points to note is Flash lost more resources than Rain, but he certainly mined a lot more. And if Rain could have stabilized for just a moment where he killed 3 drops at once without losing anything, then he would have been able to get himself back into the game. But Flash, with even a Viking drop in the main, constantly killing that Nexus at the natural, was just everywhere, too much, too quickly.
I think Flash is angry. Flash is right now in a position where he says like, no, this time I will go to Codes. He is one of those guys who has really high standards. He wants to play in the best league, in just like the toughest league in the world. He wants to prove himself, and he never got in. And this is his 3rd attempt, and he's looking at this as like, you are not gonna stop me. I will be in Codes. I will take these games, and you are just another obstacle in my way.
Yeah, he's looking at this with no emotions. Rain, on the other hand, looks very calm and collected on the right side of the screen there. You can see him. Map number 2 is Daybreak, a map that we have had a little bit more experience for Rain, but Flash has played on it enough times now as well.
Yeah, Rain knows that he can pull this off. He already defeated Flash in the past. Rain can win here, even when he's down one map, and he knows it too. He wants to take out Flash. He wants to get back in Codes. Can he win on Daybreak and force a 3rd game? We're going to find out right now. It's Flash versus Rain, game number 2 at the GSL Codes with Calder Wolf.